Welcome, everyone. It's nice we live in a state where we're normally a little bit on a rush and agitated. So it's very practical before attempting to calm your mind to first just chill a little bit, just sit, maybe sip your tea or whatever, just to the clutch for changing gears. So as we welcome our bodies in here, please make yourself comfortable. And as you know, lately I'm bringing up these specific topics. I think it's good when we have more dedicated thought. So Christmas is coming day after tomorrow. So how many of you have grown up in a Christian environment? Okay, almost everyone, right? So it's difficult to see when you have it all the time around, right? I don't know of you, but I first went to monk school and then nuns, and I think when I was 8, I was so excited about religion. Oh, Jesus, love. It's so beautiful. Oh, for people. And then grow a little older and you start seeing all these things where religion becomes more behavioral, social, judging, superficial kind of context. And then I guess like many of you, I become utterly uninterested on it. Actually, a little biased because I've been told to be good. Kind of push it the other way around. And it took me some spiritual work to go back to accept the symbols of Christianism. But of course they are, and of course they are there, and of course there's a real teaching and message in there, and it's beautiful, and it's better now that we're living in a city, and we're gonna be 2 days from now celebrating the birth of Jesus Christ. It's better to take your own perspective on it and actually make it work. So when I was thinking of this week, what could be the pointer of the meditation, of course, Jesus Christ came to my mind and was the most valuable thing from all his teachings. And later on, I started with, I don't know if you know, the Course in Miracles. It's a teachings that are related to Christian. It's really, really good. Eckhart Tolle recommends it. And you basically go like 1 year working every day in a different meditation, and it's pretty cool. Especially you find a group from who to practice. Especially if you had this growing up in these symbols, but at the same time loaded with so much confusion. And for me, one of the most powerful and overlooked principles is the golden rule. As you probably know, as is stated in this. Of course, it has the understanding at first, everybody knows that. Treat others as you would like to be treated upon, right? Very simple. We hear it so much that we sort of, that. But I don't know, I challenge you to actually do it. Try it, just superficially. I mean, we all know how the world would be if people would try to do that. Would be, just to start with, a different world. I mean, as close as good as it could be. So in that sense, I think it's so incredibly brilliant and enlightening for humans to think in this context. So as I imagine many of you, some way, at least me, I completely thought that this behavioral thing was empty, in the sense of just be good to other people so you can go to heaven, you can be better in the eyes of God or whatever it is. It's just, obviously that's tremendously, I mean, it's better than people going wild, but it's just like, I don't know if you ever know someone who drinks heavily and they stop drinking. Okay, you can stop drinking, but it's still in you kind of for the rest of your life. It's not something, not for the rest of your life, but if you know people who had this specific problem or any other kind of problem really, that you've been deep enough, it's not that you change your behavior and that's it. This should be considered in a deeper level. But that's not the meaning to me of that rule. Rule is probably a good way of saying it. There is something way more profound related to the exploration within meditation. When we meditate, in the classical sense, first you relax. Most people are incredibly stressed and tired. So if you sit in that condition, you're just gonna be able to do anything. So rest, chill. If you fall asleep, fine. That's what it has to be. Just fall asleep. But at some point you will be fine, awake and chill. And then you're able to start playing the game and you see that your mind is very busy, and then you stabilize it, normally with one object, being your breath or anything else. Because unless you're not able to do that, just forget about meditation or literally anything in life. Because if your attention span is very, very short, you don't have control over yourself or anything really in your life. You're more just a learn habitual response to things, mechanical. You cannot control it. Things control you. Thoughts control you. So this simple but very profound idea of stabilize your attention. You take one object that's gonna guide you very, 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 very deep. So deep that in Hinduism they say that's the path. And it cannot be denied. Some people disagree, say you missing these other things are gonna, but it could be stated that if you will fix your attention in an object for an incredible amount of time, the illusory nature of our experience will reveal itself. Very simple. So simple, again, overlooked. And so that's something, those of you know what we're doing here, I overemphasize, because we live in a world where people are so incredibly busy that they cannot sit and take one object. I mean, it's too much. They will get bored. They will. That's why Vipassana, in my opinion, is so famous. Okay, just let it open, because it's so stressful just to try to keep your mind in one. It's too much. So, but it's still true, and there is no one who denied that. On the contrary, all. You need to calm your mind. That's something that Jesus Christ also said. Because if not, you won't be able to see. If you're not able to see, you won't be able to understand. If you're not able to understand, you won't change anything ever. So first you stabilize your mind, and then there's certain kind of understanding. You start noticing some glitches, like different way, different people, different methodologies. But basically you start noticing that you observe things happening, and the more naked your attention is to things, the more you start noticing a certain flow. Comes, goes, comes, appears, disappears. There's something very, very crucial to that, because normally we don't go so deep. So our mind is, and we keep the continuity of something that is illusory because we don't pay attention. So you can construct as if it would be one of these illusions that moves fast and it looks like it's something. But if it will stop, suddenly you will see that there is nothing there. The same way when you sit and stabilize your attention, things start happening. And by that I mean you start, some kind of knowledge start growing up in you. And then in that context, you start noticing that it's way deeper than you thought. And in a very good way, you start noticing that the more you can stabilize, the more real you become. And you start notice that if you live constantly pulled out by things and reactions, you're not really there. So the more you stabilize, as if would be compared to be drunk, or be, if now we will see, something happening here, you will need, reality check. Okay, no, I'm probably dreaming, right? Because dreaming is something that comes and goes. It's not stable. We consider being woke up more stable, and it feels more, this is reality. Was just a nightmare. It feels calmer, right? The same way, there are a lot of degrees to that. So the more you stabilize your attention, and the more you see things going, you're not taken by them, and stability grows. And that stability is calmness in a most brilliant and satisfactory way. It's the opposite of stress. Instead of being like pulled out all the time, suddenly you just notice that there is some sort of strength. You feel that nothing can take you out, that there's some sort of peace that is behind anything that happens. And that, of course, is a great discovery. But if you keep unveiling the thing, it goes to points that, if you try to state it as we are now, I'm talking, intellectually will look a little bit philosophical and not close to the direct experience. But the opposite is true. Meaning, what everyone who went deep enough would agree is that the more you observe everything, the more you notice the world are self-made. It's something that doesn't make much sense in our world, in our consensus of the world. But what I mean by that is not some sort of, it could be an experience in the sense of, but I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about something you probably felt dancing, making love. There's some sort of flow. And if you at that point will make a picture and you will ask yourself, where are you? You will notice there's just this thing happening, like in a movie. And there's this immense sense of flow, as if everything would be your body. These words in here start becoming a little tricky. But does this make sense to you? I know you know what I'm talking about. Why is that important? If you keep dwelling on that and looking for that wholeness of the experience of being here and now, the more start pouring up this non-dual understanding. By non-dual is where everything is the same. Sounds like a beautiful thought, but I don't mean it in a philosophical way. I'm talking about something that I know all of you did, especially think about really good moments in your life. It's just we don't recognize it. Because our ego takes a trip a little bit in that moment, just get lost. And when it comes back, it thinks, no, there was a continuity. No, there was no continuity. You just mean it in a very direct way. It's just that for us, it's not the direct experience. We experience ourselves to be in a body and have a personality. So yeah, you try to be good to other people. You try to, but that's not what they're talking about. So much that some teachings consider compassion, that would be this sort of behavior where you are actually caring a lot about other people, a consequence of understanding. So it's not something you would try to behave good because you're supposed to be good. No, it comes out of when you're full, and you're full, you just want to share it. And it comes this natural sense of joy and love. I try to avoid these words, but don't find any better word. You know, the people you love, suddenly it's a lot easy. It's very, very easy to really care about them. And then you lose yourself into the other people. That's a tiny experience of this oneness they are referring to. But normally we have strict rules about who we love and how we love. And we have this business thing about, no, I love you if you love me. If you stop loving me, then I don't love you. Then, yeah, start locking ourselves in this castle of... So what I would like to suggest is that you take the meaning of that idea of treating other people like yourself, not just as something good, but something like an exploration, to which extent that is actually true. And most of you know this idea of giving and receiving. Hopefully most of you already notice that no one gives you love ever. People are going, I want the people to love me. Did anyone ever give you love? No, really. It's more like you give it. That's when you feel it. Just that, I don't want to go deep into that, but if you will pay attention to the experience of relating to other people, you will see how you really shine when you are giving yourself, like a parent would do with the kids. And sometimes kids are very selfish, and they naturally, I don't think it's because they want to, or obviously they grow to be adults. But the parents always giving, and sometimes the kids misbehave a lot, but the parents feel a lot of love in that giving. And the reason why that happens is because they find a way out of their own ego, which is this trap we get. So there is this super important point in every spiritual path which says you need to care about others. If you don't care about others, you cannot make any real progress in meditation. I mean, it's impossible, because the consequence of meditation is the experience of noticing that while you reference all the time as me, it's a construct, it's a thought, something made. To have that understanding in a practical sense, you have to really go deep into this kind of stabilization of attention. But when you go deeper in there, little by little, you start noticing that the experience we actually have is more of there's only data, and we just see it. And when you touch the floor, if you really directly look at that experience without a sense of, oh yeah, my name, my history, just direct try to fully experience that, you can tell what is the floor and what is your hand, really. There's just a sensation. Just our brain breaks it into borders. If you go into study perception is a very interesting thing. And you will see that it correlates again with meditation like quantum physics does. All these experiences, for strange that may seem, are actually the grounding. The illusion is the other stuff. So, of course, most people won't believe you are the others. And I'm not suggesting you to repeat it until you believe it, but more like to explore it, especially if you meet family. It's a great time because family triggers all your unconscious stuff. Very profound, very... just a commentary could make you like... after 3 days, right? They say it's 3 days, right? Something like that. First day you say, oh yeah, beautiful. Just stay a little longer and it becomes uncomfortable. Great, but at the same time, it triggers a part of you that you, most of the time, we don't want to see. So family is difficult. So how we approach this in spirituality, as I said before, I personally think that it's better not to do anything, maybe because I'm conditioned by my Christian background of be good, give money to the poor, and all that stuff. And what I'm suggesting is not take it as a meditation. And the point of meditation is to experience what is actually happening without any filtering of your own mind or your past. I'm talking about this moment too. So let's go a little bit into that. Keep your spine straight, comfortably. Let the tension in your body melt naturally. Meditation is about not doing, meaning not trying to change everything, really. So it's good news. Just relax and you're doing it good. You don't do anything special. You're just welcoming this moment. Meditation is not something you have to work hard to achieve. It is your natural state beyond your thinking process. So for most people will feel at first like going out of your head and noticing sensory input. You may hear sounds. You may feel different sensations in your body. So instead of keeping your attention trapped in your mind and your thinking, you first, by letting go, you'll find yourself just feeling a very simple sense of sensory presence. You are just resting in naked awareness. You're not doing anything. Meditation takes care of itself when you just stop feeding the imaginations and concentrating on your own thoughts. Thoughts may appear. You don't have to block them. That will be an activity. Just consider any thought come for the next few minutes to be just like any sound in the room. Your body relaxes and relaxes without doing anything. But there is aliveness. You're not falling asleep. On the contrary, it feels as if you would be waking up to this moment from the dreams in your head. Out of habit, you may find yourself paying attention to thoughts. That's okay. Just rest in the most vivid presence without trying to improve anything or changing anything. Your perfect nature is there already. You don't have to work for it. The more you relax, you will notice that you think less and you feel more. You're not doing anything special. You're just chilling out in the present moment, effortlessly, letting things be as they are. Don't change anything. Don't follow thoughts. For the next few minutes, your thoughts are not important, relevant, or practical to what we're doing. So random thoughts, like random cars in the street, you just don't follow them. Don't try to stop them. Just open your perception, rests in direct sensory input. Notice how relaxation and stillness start growing in your body, in your mind. Your breathing is flowing effortlessly. And after some initial calm and tranquility cultivated, today we're going to be using our mind consciously for an exercise. Bring about the face of someone you love. Family, friend. Someone who's very dear to you. See that person. Imagine that person in their daily life, waking up, going to work, walking on the street, talking to other people, eating, and just rejoice in the love you feel with their presence. And how much you love them. Now breathe in deeply. Wish them from the bottom of your heart. Wish that person happiness. from the bottom of your heart. Become one with that person. Carry that person in your heart like a treasure. See how the happiness of that person makes you happy. Now let go. And bring to your mind now a person who you are kind of neutral about. Maybe someone from your daily life. You may not even know their name. But you don't have much attachment. Could be someone working in a shop, someone, neighbor, some person you probably don't know well. You don't have any special positive or negative idea of them. Now, from the bottom of your heart, wish that person to be happy. Imagine that person becoming happier. See how that makes you feel. Notice your connection with that person as a human being. Goes beyond your bodies. And in some way, you are that person. Imagine that person smiling. Maybe singing or enjoying their day. Loving other people. Feeling secure and joyful. Let go. Now, last but not least, bring about someone who you don't like. someone who you may think is even a bad person. From the bottom of your heart, take the courage to also wish that person happiness. Bypass all your conditioning and authentically imagine that person being happy and rejoice. Forgive. Now let go of that. You go back to your resting state. But now there is this lingering feeling of others and their happiness. Now you don't need to imagine. Just notice, feel that there is people alive around you. Just honestly, from the bottom of your heart, wish everybody in this room happiness. Wish them joy. Extend to everyone in this neighborhood. Feel all the people in their homes preparing for Christmas, maybe traveling, and wish all of them profoundly happiness. People becoming happy and happy all around. Extend to everyone in Berlin, to 5 million people in all the neighborhoods, from the east to the west. It's like an electromagnetic field. From your heart, wish them happiness. All of them. The young, the old, the good, the bad. All humans. Notice how joy and happiness grows as you open your mind and your perception, your sense, your field of embracing every mind and body and wishing them happiness. Extend to Germany, all Germany. All Europe. All the continents. Every human being and every sentient being on earth. Feel them in you, as you. Recognize the aliveness and the presence we all share. And send everyone and everything your most honest love and wish for happiness for everyone. Everyone. Your mind may look small, but your heart is as huge as you want. Your heart possesses silence. From which all life comes. Through your heart, you become everything and everyone. It's not something actually you become, but more that you realize that you are already. So let all your attention sink from your brain down to your heart and expand not just this planet, but to every corner of the universe. Your heart, so vast, that goes beyond galaxies till the end of space. From the beginning of times to the end of times. The silent, pervasive presence in your heart has never changed and will never change. Will never die, because it was never born. Rest in your heart. Embracing all the universe as one. Surrender your personality, your personal thoughts, and history, and just in this moment, fully present, surrender into the silence of the vibrant presence of everything as one. Meld your mind with space. Meld your heart with stillness. Just let go. Undistracted heart is silent, vibrant, with light. Same light and silence that organizes every atom in the universe. Same life force that manifests everything from nothing. Just for a few minutes more, become nothing to become everything. Surrender. Completely surrender. Surrender. How much can you let go? Nothing's gonna happen. You're safe. Try to explore what is to completely surrender your personal thoughts. Just for a couple of minutes more, to blend in silence with everything and everyone. Just for 1 minute more, how much can you let go of yourself and embrace everything as your own presence, as your own stillness? Just a few seconds more. Surrender to stillness, to oneness. Meditation wasn't supposed to be pleasant necessarily. But it makes a point. Put it this way, this standard, people talk in different levels about what enlightenment is, but it's standard of understanding. It's relatively easy to love people you love and wish them happiness, but to which extent can you do that to other people? It's something to explore, and you find a lot of things. You're very nice with certain people, but not nice with others. That is like an exclusion in our mind. Like, no, but these people, no. This thing, no. I want to be good, but not with that people. They don't deserve it. That's a thought-made, very profound pattern. Obviously, for survival reasons, we are all very attached to this sensation of separation. But so far that is in there, we cannot fully experience this oneness, which is really what everyone's looking for. And this is one way of checking how deep you are in the meditation path, to which extent this is true to yourself, to which extent you really can. The moment you stop believing your own thoughts, then everything is everything. So your history, your judgmental point on people, your hard feelings, they fall apart with that thoughts. So if you don't care about everything and everyone, then you don't understand it, which is fine. But we can test it already. That's the place where I was going to. Although try to experience this oneness with everything may seem a big, like, outreach, like a little too much, abstract, too much, strange for a brain and a body. But on the other hand, it's very easy to explore practically this idea of just try to be nice to people. Not because then you're going to be better, but because there's this hypothesis where everything is everything. And what happens when you, try it with a stranger, maybe easier than with other people. But in the gradation of difficulty, stranger could be it's an interesting point where, for example, in this room, we don't know each other much, and yet you can sort of feel a connection, human connection we disregard all the time due to practical application of our lifestyle and survival. We just disregard that connection all the time. But that connection is there, it's very profound. And not only that, that equals to happiness. You cannot be happy in an isolated way. It's not like you see it. You definitely can feel very blissful, hopefully through these explorations. Some people will feel more in the heart, some people don't. There are different guidelines or guide of the meditation, but ultimately it leads to something that is not divided, something that is not, when there is silence, when there is just experience, things start melting into one. So unless your mind is really, really, really stable, it is normal that it doesn't feel like all this oneness and all this space and time and all these things. It doesn't feel like a reality. It feels like you have to imagine it a little bit. But it's a good imagination because it leads you to discover something that is real. So it's not just imagining I'm going to imagine the world, I'm going to imagine other people. No, it has a very practical thing to explore. And encourage that. See what happens. See what happens if instead of trying to make you happy, what happens if you try to make other people happy? I'm not saying to sacrifice yourself. I think that's, again, been mistaken. That's a different thing. Suffering is a different thing. I'm talking about just not because you want anything from anyone, just to explore this. It's a bit joyful, right? It's nice to meet new people, maybe. And why? Because it's easy. You don't have a story with these people, so it's relatively easy to feel that connection. But do it with everyone, all the time. And at some point, if you do it long enough, you find the stability to do it with people who are way more challenging. That's when things start becoming transformative. If you feel real compassion for people who hurt you, that's real meditation. You have to go very deep in yourself and you have to release a lot of illusory patterns. I think Jesus Christ was definitely a proponent of this. You have that. This is definitely in every religion. But if you have to compare practices between Buddhism, for example, they definitely work with this. But Christianity sort of emphasizes it, like your heart. Jesus Christ, his heart. It's for a reason. It's not just something poetically interesting. It's something physical you can feel electromagnetically. Your heart is 500 times more powerful than your brain. So a really, really common thing in any tradition of meditation is to let your brain, the activity in your brain, just let it sink. Let it sink. Let it sink. That attention, that concentration, let it just like a black hole in your heart. I don't know, it's very difficult for me to talk about this, to be honest. Because it's been so much use in terms of behavioral patterns that it's better just do it and shut up. Don't talk about it. But I can tell you that sometimes just love people you don't know, and it's real, and you feel it, and it's beautiful, and we should acknowledge more, and we should nurture more. So in our society on me, mine, my happiness depends on my career, my money, my everything. Everyone is on their own. Not for charity, not like I'm good, I'm going to do something good for people who are poorer. No, with everyone, every time, like a scientific experimentation. Maybe in the very beginning, the results are unclear because the pull is very strong from our mental history. But if you explore a little deeper, you're going to notice that it's pretty obvious. Just making other people happy, you become the happiest. If you try to make yourself happy, you're already missing a huge part of it. So it cannot work. It's not that simple. I'm not saying don't try to be happy. Please do anything you think is good for you. But what if the hypothesis of all religions and all meditation master is like, we are one. There is just one. There is no two. There's no you and me. Do a random beautiful thing for someone without taking the merit socially out of it. That's a good one. In any case, does it make sense to you? I know what I'm saying is politically correct to be good to other people. I hope you got that I'm not saying in the traditional way of behavioral. I'm saying like an exploration on what you are and what other people are. And just test. Because if it's right, and it is, then being satisfied is a lot easier than we think and than we do. It's just, you don't need anything. People are probably the best thing in your life. Anyone. Not that you have a important, beloved one. I'm not saying in that sense. But people go on retreat and meditation for a really long time alone and they don't feel lonely, not for a second. And people live in the cities surrounded by people and they feel lonely. Being lonely is a thought, because otherwise the experience is a very interconnected experience. So if you get over yourself a little bit, over our own conditioning that says, no, just give, but just enough, you have enough. It's not that, just express. We have too much, right? Being honest, even we don't feel it, we have so much. I mean, we are incredibly rich. I mean, my grandfather lived 2 wars and he was a very successful businessman at his time. And he doesn't have anything close to what I have. I mean, not. So if you see back in history, we really have a lot. Like, no, it's another thing in Amazon is not going to make it. But we are just following to a survival dopamine hypnosis. Obviously, it's productive for money. But we all kind of know that's not the way. And yet religions are too much established into politics and behavioral social things. So it's not a resource. And on the other hand, you have this free will, everyone on their own, which is self-satisfactory, pleasant, get more. But we know it's not, doesn't work, but many people are kind of like, yeah, but what else? So I hope you find in meditation a way of exploring something else. And I hope this session was in any way a bit I really meant every word I say. I'm just saying this because many of these words sound like too much. No, I really, really, really try to live by it every second. And it's tough. It's very tough. It's very difficult. But, oh my God, it just pays off so much. So, I don't know. I really hope that I am of benefit of any of you in any way. As I say, for me, this is very difficult to talk in this level. But I personally, professionally, really, really try my best to get out of myself and feel for other people. Not in a charitable way, but in exploration. And so many times you stop being sad. You stop being frustrated. You stop being everything just because you care about others, anyone. Thank you for your presence. Thank you for following me. I hope it wasn't too confusing. And I hope the meditation was very challenging. Just saying it again. Technically, most people who had felt off the very beginning was kind of comfortable and nice, very pleasant and very, very, that alone, that is meditation, definitely. But this active exploration on your connection to other people it should have been very challenging to start with. If you're not used to bring things to your mind, that already, if your mind is kind of busy and stressed, that's going to be challenging right from the start. But even then, it's relatively easy to feel these kind of feelings for people you love, fine. For neutral people, for people who hurt you, people work decades on this to really feel authentically wishing happiness to people who may threaten their life or things like that. And they manage to do it. It's very, very uplifting to see people from the Holocaust and there's a lot of people from Tibet, that people who've been tortured for decades, and they still, you can see there in their eyes, they really mean it. They feel no hate, they feel no regret. These are real teachers. So attempting to feel your loving connection, your oneness with someone who hurts you is very, very challenging. It will be the equal of having a very long attention span and a lot of calm in your life. So don't feel bad if it's a little frustrating. Just figure out what is your range, where it feels comfortable, and just work from there. So people love people, you love you, fantastic. Start from there, and hopefully you will feel a little overflowing at some point. Then start investing a little out of that, and eventually you embrace everyone. And yet, the ending of the meditation is something that some people click, some people don't. So if it didn't click, that's all right. But if it clicked, then you know that it is a fact that we have a direct connection with everything. Because basically, not to confuse you, but it contradicts many things we live by. This life is more illusory than anything. By illusory, I mean like in a dream, that everything is everything. In a dream, you're everything and everyone. I don't know if any of you are lucid dreamers, but this is something you all know. Dreams have some sort of laws you can test. When you run away from something, that something comes to you. The faster you try to go, the slower you go. All these laws, we know that they actually happening here. So I'm not trying to deny the reality of your experience here and now, but I'm just saying that there is a very interesting exploration and very liberating, because it leads from the top to what is really happening. Not in a strange way, but more in a quantum physics way. I don't know. I don't want to start talking about quantum physics, but if you say, no, that's not true. I am here, I am my body, and this is obvious. People are there, and this is the way it works. I would say, just that's when mathematicians and physics look for reality, they don't find that. I don't want to go deep on that, but what I'm saying is that if you go deep into the nature of things, you will find that is the way we live is a mental construct, which may be practical. I'm not denying it, but just it keeps us suffering. So better question it at least. So not to make it strange or mysterious or abstract or philosophical, but the truth is that everything is one. We need to experientially, practically embrace that, and that's where we feel completion and satisfaction. There's nothing else that could do it. So why to wait until you're disappointed on anything after many years? You say, no, I really want this promotion. No, I really want to be so rich that I can just move to the beach and do nothing. That's going to take you a lot of years. If you're wrong, like any spiritual teacher say from the beginning of times, if you're wrong, it's going to take you too many years to notice that you were wrong. As you know, George Harrison from the Beatles, he said, I wish everyone would be happy, will be rich and famous as I am, to realize that that is not it. But unfortunately, you know, there's a huge logic in ourselves. No, but it's going to work. It's going to work. I'm going to make it and I'm going to be happy. But it's not to ruin your life. It's not to deny it. It's not to say don't do it. but it's more to say like, just don't put all the eggs in the nest of the future. Just put some of them here and now, and that's what the exercises of meditation are suggesting. So again, thank you so much for being here. I really enjoy your presence and really appreciate you coming in here this dark night. One of, actually, the second darker day in the year, right? Yesterday was the darkest day in the year. So it means a lot to me that you're here. And although you didn't talk, I felt you and I appreciate you. So thank you so much. I wish you a beautiful Christmas celebration if you do celebrate. If you don't, then just don't. I just wanted to say I didn't mean in the Santa Claus way. I mean just whatever it is, just hanging out with people, just having a good time. Every day should be a celebration, but in this case, it's the celebration of light, right? That's Jesus Christ. It's not a coincidence that is just there in the darkest point of the year. Now is the time to think about light. So in any way, I think, I'm not sure if I will be able to hold it next week, but I'll try to in case anyone's in town. So thanks so much for coming, and I wish you a beautiful celebration or week.